So Borderlands 1 actually has a lot of pretty awesome legendaries. You have weapons like the Ogre, Hammer, Bulldog, Skullmasher, and the Hellfire, just to name a few. And for the most part, the vast majority of legendaries in Borderlands 1 are definite improvements over their non-unique counterparts, as legendaries usually have additional effects while not suffering from any stat penalties. However, with this said, Borderlands 1 definitely does have its fair share of lousy legendaries. Whether it's due to ammo consumption or just questionable design, I'm going to go over what I think are among the worst legendaries in Borderlands 1. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with number 10, and that is going to be the Cyclops sniper rifle. Perhaps this is a matter of personal opinion, but I've found that I both like and hate the Cyclops sniper rifle. As someone that played Borderlands 2 first, I like the Cyclops because it's basically a legendary version of the Fremington's Edge. However, I think that due to the way that sniper rifles are implemented in Borderlands 1, and because of the fact that the Cyclops has such an insane amount of weapon zoom, that the Cyclops can ultimately be extremely frustrating to use. Unlike Borderlands 2, Borderlands 1 sniper rifles have spread while scoped, meaning that there is a pretty good chance that even if you're scoped in on target, you may still miss because the bullets will veer to side or up and down. And because the Cyclops is billed as this sort of ultra long range sniper rifle, the fact that it has any spread at all is absolutely unacceptable in my opinion. Plus, the scope on the Cyclops really lowers the player's field of view, and while this does provide the benefits of being able to scope enemies that are extremely far away, it also has the side effect of making it really difficult to aim from up close. And if you're getting shot at while you are scoped, good luck trying to reacquire your targets. I suppose, to be fair, you can do much worse than the Cyclops, and some of you may even really like this gun. But for me personally, I would just prefer something else. Number 9, the Troll Pistol. So the Troll actually has a pretty cool weapon effect that allows the player to continuously regenerate health. And honestly, this is something that I would have liked to have seen in either Borderlands 2 or even the pre-sequel, as it could potentially make this weapon both useful in and outside of combat. The problem with the Troll, though, is that its rate of health regeneration is very low, and you may simply find that just picking up health syringes that are dropped from random enemies is a much quicker way to recover your health. Additionally, because the Troll receives its special effect from the unique Troll accessory part, this weapon can never spawn with an elemental, double, or any other desirable repeater pistol accessory that you can think of, which effectively limits its damage potential. What I will say though is that if the Troll's health regeneration rate was a lot higher and its special effect came from another weapon part, it would probably be far more useful. Number 8, the Surkov sniper rifle. So the Surkov is probably the most lacking of the legendary sniper rifles that are available. While the Cyclops actually has some notable improvements like superior weapon zoom and enhanced critical damage while scoped, the Surkov really only boosts fire rates and reload speed. And the thing is, I think you'll find that as far as fire rate goes, the Doll Penetrator is going to be better because it's fully automatic, and pretty much every other legendary sniper rifle that's available deals more damage. The Surkov is also bad because its unique weapon barrel is based around what is considered to be the least accurate sniper rifle barrel available. And while you are getting notable improvements over that particular barrel, you still suffer from some of the problems that that barrel has, like increased weapon spread, reduced minimum accuracy, and increased recoil. I guess it's up to you, but I would avoid the Surkov, as I think you can probably find something better. Number 7, the Butcher Shotgun. While the Butcher Shotgun in Borderlands 2 is pretty awesome, the Butcher Shotgun in Borderlands 1 definitely leaves something to be desired. Unlike the Borderlands 2 version, which will randomly add ammunition back into the magazine while firing, the Butcher from Borderlands 1 simply has a 5-round burst. Now at first glance, this doesn't really sound that bad, and admittedly, the Butcher actually feels pretty good to shoot in Borderlands 1. However, the issue is that per round of ammo fired, the Butcher is dealing less damage due to the reduced projectile count, in addition to the fact that the burst fire consumes a lot of ammunition. And for that reason, I think that the Butcher has a tendency to waste ammo in Borderlands 1. And honestly, it's a shame because the Butcher not only looks really cool in this game, but honestly feels pretty good to shoot. And while I suppose you can kill things with the Borderlands 1 Butcher, you're doing so at a significant ammo cost. I'd recommend that you avoid this one while playing Borderlands 1, but if you are playing Borderlands 2, the Butcher is actually quite good. Number 6. The Iridian Mega Cannon. Finally, we have started to reach what I would consider to be among the truly awful legendaries that the player can acquire in Borderlands 1. The problem with the Iridian Mega Cannon is that it's an Iridian cannon that deals more damage at the expense of increased charge or ammo consumption and decreased fire rate. So not only will you not really deal that much more damage than your standard Iridian cannon, but you can't fire quite as many shots and you can't fire them nearly as fast. And it's a shame because unlike the other Nox DLC Iridian legendaries, which are actually quite good, the Iridian Mega Cannon just ends up being worse than your standard Iridian cannon that you can acquire during regular playthroughs. I highly recommend that you just sell this piece of crap if you end up finding it. Maybe it's valuable if you like collecting things, but I think you can do much better as far as Iridian weapons are concerned. Number 5. The Wildcat SMG. So there's a strong possibility that you've encountered one of these during your travels, and if you ask me, the Wildcat has got to be among one of the worst legendary SMGs in Borderlands 1 due to the fact that it boosts magazine size at the cost of decreased accuracy. So while you're getting a magazine size boost of 42 or something like that, you're getting increased reload speed, reduced maximum accuracy, and greatly increased spread compared to the Wildcat's non-unique equivalent. Understandably, these attributes can make being accurate with the Wildcat pretty much impossible, as most of your bullets actually end up landing around enemies instead of landing directly where you're aiming. And you also have to consider that you can simply find a non-unique dull SMG with less magazine size, and you won't encounter any of the obnoxious accuracy problems that you're getting on the Wildcat. Ultimately, the Wildcat SMG really sucks and should definitely be avoided. Number 4. The Redemption Launcher. Unfortunately, rocket launchers in Borderlands 1 are kind of lacking, and while you can obtain some decent ones like the Nidhogg, Roaster, or even the Rhino, the fact is that the Torg Redemption is just abysmal. And while you're getting increased rocket damage and a larger blast radius compared to most other rocket launchers, the problem with the Redemption is that it ends up consuming so much rocket ammo per shot that you end up dealing less damage per rocket ammo fired than you do with most other launchers. I also have to admit that I'm not really a fan of the fact that you have to reload pretty much every single time you fire the Redemption, and this has a significant effect on the Redemption's DPS potential, as you're potentially spending more time actually reloading the gun than actually firing it. I guess I'm glad that we didn't see the Redemption return in Borderlands 2, because while the color scheme definitely looks cool, the weapon itself is pretty shit. Number 3. The Hydra Shotgun. So, if you want to know where one of the most frustrating shotguns in Borderlands 2 got its start, it was with the Atlas Hydra from Borderlands 1. Much like the Borderlands 2 version, the Borderlands 1 version of the Hydra fires its pellets in a horizontal line, meaning that if you want to get all of the pellets to hit an enemy's crit spot, you have to fire from virtually point-blank range. If you're any further away than that, then virtually 60 to 80% of the other projectiles will effectively miss, or they will hit unintended targets. Otherwise, there's not really a whole lot else to this particular shotgun. Hopefully, we won't see any more weapons with horizontal projectile patterns like this one in future Borderlands games, because they are truly awful. Number 2, the Gasher SMG. So, the Gasher is quite possibly the single worst SMG available to the player in Borderlands 1. Oddly, while the penalties that the Gasher experiences aren't as severe as what you might see on the Wildcat SMG, the problem is that the Gasher's inherent burst fire doesn't go well with the increased weapon spread, recoil, and reductions to accuracy. After all, what good are the damage boosts that you're potentially seeing from the increase to the base damage and the rate of fire if you can't even hit what you're shooting at in the first place? You'll also probably be interested to know that compared to the standard SMG barrel that the Gasher barrel is based on, the Gasher boosts all of the undesirable traits even more. Instead of a 20% penalty to recoil, you're getting a 50% penalty, and when it comes to projectile spread, it's 50% instead of the standard 28%. Really though, it's the combination of the burst fire along with the poor accuracy that makes this particular weapon awful, and in my personal opinion, pretty much any other legendary SMG in Borderlands 1 is better than the Gasher. And finally, number 1, the Friendly Fire Shotgun. So, the Friendly Fire has a similar projectile pattern to the kitten from Borderlands 2 in the sense that both have this smiley face pattern. Now, while this ends up working with the kitten, it doesn't work on the Friendly Fire because you're firing all of the projectiles necessary to make the smiley face at once. While this wouldn't necessarily be a problem if the grouping was fairly close together, this all ultimately ends up being a problem because the Friendly Fire's grouping is really spread out. In fact, it's possible to fire this shotgun from a moderate distance and not even hit what's in front of you due to the fact that the smiley face pattern is so large. And when you consider that the Friendly Fire's unique accessory just reduces accuracy, I think I would rather have a non-unique Fire Elemental Torque shotgun that is just reducing my overall damage. In my opinion, the Friendly Fire shotgun might just be the worst legendary weapon in Borderlands 1. Thank God it didn't reappear in Borderlands 2 or any of the future games. Alright guys, I think that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you liked this video, feel free to leave a like, click the bell to join the notification squad, and as always, take care, and I'll see y'all next time.